Hello, and welcome back to Shatter Our Souls with Novaria. Now, today we are tackling the Super Smash Bros. Very Hard Classic Challenge with a character that I admit I had assumed to be one of the hardest, and to be honest, probably was. It is Ness. Now, Ness is a character that is good in some circumstances, but what circumstances is a little bit iffy sometimes. Ness has a huge variety of capabilities that other characters wish they would have. He has the home run bat, which not only acts as a useful smash attack that can defeat multiple opponents in one strike, but also can reflect projectiles, the capability to absorb projectiles, the ability to have a non-stop easy flinch option in the PK fire. This is a mad lad who is capable of doing a bunch of rather unique and powerful abilities, or who has access to a bunch of powerful abilities that other characters simply wish they could have. So why do I say Ness is one of the characters that I personally thought would be the hardest? Well, it comes down to two aspects. The first is that Ness lacks physicality. Now, physicality in this basically just means range and damage per strike. Ness is not built as a close range fighter in any way, shape, or form, and if I am honest, I have a habit of leaning towards heavyweight characters or those that have a lot of physical close range strikes to them. Which makes Ness kind of a problematic character for me. But be that as it may, the other aspect is Ness's recovery. Now, PK Thunder is a incredibly powerful, incredibly versatile, unique ability. It has three separate options. The first being the option of hitting your opponent with the orb side of the projectile, which has a flinch, as well as sends opponents flying in a direction. Any direction will do. Typically, straight upwards. You can hit your opponent with the trail behind the orb. Hitting them with that will send them backwards, will cause them to flinch and hold them in place, but it will not send them flying, which means if an opponent is, let's say, in midair and you just need to buy a little bit of time, you can flinch them to get them out of your hair for just a couple more moments, which, fantastic. And the third is to hit Ness directly with the orb in order to send Ness flying towards either an opponent or another ledge or whatnot to act as a recovery. PK Thunder is incredibly versatile, but it is also incredibly finicky. It is very hard to get that just right. And unfortunately, that is the aspect of the character that holds him back. Ness has abilities that most characters wish to have, but like with Little Mac later on, if you can't recover, you're dead weight once you hit the end. And while Ness can definitely recover better than Little Mac, the reality is that Ness still lacks recovery in a notable fashion later on. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. And I wish I could be a little bit more forgiving and whatnot with Ness. Really, I do. Because as far as Smash 64 goes, there's only roughly 3 zoners. That being Ness, Link, and Samus. And even then, Link and Samus are kind of questionable at times. Well, Link is more questionable than Samus. So having a character that excels at being a zoner is a good thing, and adds variety to the game. But Smash 64 really struggled when making zoners well, when attempting to make zoners the more viable options. Samus is by far the strongest of the three, in my opinion, for Smash 64. Samus does not fall like a rock. Link falls like a rock, and Ness has questionable recovery. It's all good though. It's all expectations that change from one moment to the next. I'm gonna say that was perfectly planned. Bad monkey. I was gonna grab you. Okay, can I do it? Yes, we got the good angle this time. Come on. Get the monkey to hit the bomb. Perfectly planned. Yep. I meant to do that. You know what? I'll take it. Edge guarding is also an area that I, as a player, struggle with. Characters like Ness that have the zoning abilities, especially PK Fire and PK Thunder, Ness is an incredible edge guard. Because Ness doesn't need to be directly next to the ledge and in a danger zone to be able to be an edge guard, which automatically gives Ness a bit of an edge in most circumstances. But what sets Ness apart in this regard is that I suck at edge guarding. Partially because I don't want to jump off the ledge. I'm terrified that my controls are going to go out from underneath me and I'm going to lose a stock in a game where I'm already struggling a lot of the time against the lagging or against laggy inputs. And you might say, well, I'm playing the game fine, but a lot of the time I'm actually making inputs about a quarter of a second to half a second before they go through. This is the limitations of what I'm working with. The limitations of my hardware. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think that emulation is important for the maintenance of our video game history. That's it. That's the bulk of it. And if it is that I have owned the game and the system prior to playing and emulating the game, I have no issue. Having owned both the game and the system, I don't mind emulating on the Nintendo Wii, with the exclusive statement that I've owned it and have actually spent the money on it. But the big N, the head honchos, the people that seem to have the largest library of games imaginable that people want to play and want to spend money on but have no hopes of putting forward, emulation is the only way that people can actually play these games. So, in that regard, our history in video games is being erased in some way, shape, or form. And it's a shame because I believe that we need to keep it alive to show the growth in our characters, growth in our developers. And that's something that I don't think developers necessarily think of all the time. And so, being able to say that I am emulating this, knowing full well that I am not exactly, or that I've done my due diligence to make sure I have everything I need for this game, I don't mind it. I have everything I need, and this is the way I can show it off. That's the way I'll go with that. Anywho, be that as it may, Metal Mario here is absolutely roasting me. I'm thinking, all that practice has finally paid off. Sorry. I spent, for this section of the challenge alone, Ness, I was grinding out this for about 4 hours straight. And at one point, I spent an entire half an hour just trying to learn and focus on getting better with the recovery move for such a circumstance as this. Right now, we're dealing with the fighting polygon team. If I'm being honest, the polygons are either the best or the worst part of this. Most characters can handle a single opponent. If I'm being honest, I believe that if I sat down and focused on it, I could beat any character one-on-one on the hardest difficulty in Smash 64. With a catch. Multi-man battles. Oh, Mew, cool. Multi-man battles are some of the hardest to actually play and beat, because your focus is split between multiple targets. This is part of the reason why a lot of people that play single-player fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken might struggle with Smash later on, simply because although Smash is much more simplistic and much slower as far as output of information goes, there's more places on the battlefield to keep an eye on to really show or to be able to play efficiently. Bleh. Words are hard this morning. Anywho, with that being said, I'm looking like this might be the option, might be the run, but I'm at 170%, and I'm not likely to get back on the ground here, because the recovery move, for all it's good for, struggles when it comes to opponents' edge guarding. Because edge guarding, Ness's ability, they have two options. First of all, block the edge. Second, block his projectile. If they get hit by the projectile, the little orb guy, that's it. I have no recovery left. And that's something that I don't think gets said very often, but that recovery in and of itself, getting hit by Ness's recovery, is one of the easiest ways to prevent Ness from reaching his target. Haha. One of my opponents got hit by the home run bat, and I wasn't the one holding it. Alright. And the monkey has taken the bait. I missed the strike with the bat. 117. I'm not likely to make it out. Nope, that is mine. And with that, I'm almost guaranteed to make it into the final round against our dear friend, the Master Hand. It's amazing how such a small detail can go from making a run near impossible to being viable. And if I'm being honest, it is the nature of Smash Bros. Being, firstly and foremost, a party game. Now, I've mentioned it in some capacity or another before, but Smash Bros. Is a party game at its core. That's what it has always been, that is what it is known for. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to compare Smash 64 to Street Fighter 2, they're two wildly different games with two very dramatically different approaches to the fighting game genre. And because their approaches are so different, it makes it difficult for a player going from one to the other, because one is very much skill-based. The other is skill mixed with a lot of luck. Because if I don't get that lucky heal, I'm going to be in trouble. But at the same time, if I was a stronger player to begin with, I wouldn't have needed the heal. So there's a little bit of a balancing act there. Anywho, that's my 2 cents on it. Nice. Avoided the big strike. 26 HP left. Come on. And... ow, I just got shot. And... mission complete. Overall, I think Ness was by far the hardest so far to complete. And I'll be admiss, I'm not... I hope never to have to do this challenge again with Ness, because it was incredibly difficult and one that pushed me to my limits. Anywho, if you like what you see, drop a like, leave a subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Until then, have a good one.